Hey everybody, in this video we are going to talk about the volume of a cone. So I have a cone here that has approximately the same base as the cylinder and approximately the same height. The cylinder is filled with water. I'm going to see how many times I can fill this cone with the water that is in this cylinder. Okay, so they're not necessarily exactly the same base and height, but they're very close. So this may not work out perfectly, but it should come pretty close. So here's one, and of course when I spill a little bit, then that's not going to help this come out exact either. Here's two, and here is three, and that's pretty close. Not exact, like I said, because, well, one, I spilled a little bit, and two, these are not exactly the same size base and the same height, but they're very close. So what we can get out of that is that the volume of a cone is 1/3 of the volume of a cylinder with the same height and the same base. So the volume of a cone is pi r squared h divided by 3, where r is the radius and h is the height. So here I have a cone with a radius of 25 and a height of 30. So the volume is pi 25 squared, so that's pi r squared, times the height, 30, divided by 3. So I'm going to leave pi out of the calculator and get an exact answer. 25 squared times 30 divided by 3 is 6,250. So the exact answer is 6,250 pi feet cubed. Next I have a radius of 3 and a slant height of 5. Slant height is great for surface area, but I need height for volume. So I'm going to have to use the Pythagorean Theorem here. 3 squared plus the height squared equals 5 squared. Okay, now you may just recognize this. 3 blank 5. That's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. Now if you don't recognize that, then you'll continue using Pythagorean Theorem. Minus 3 squared. So that's 25 minus 9, which is 16. And the square root is 4. So we have a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. So the volume is pi r squared h, so that's pi 3 squared times 4 divided by 3. So we have 3 squared times 4 divided by 3, and that is 12. So the volume is 12 pi inches cubed. Okay, next we have another slant height. So we've got a radius and a slant height. So the volume is pi 5 squared times h. This is another Pythagorean triple that you might just recognize, but if not, we'll do 5 squared plus h squared equals 13 squared. And subtract 5 squared from both sides. Remember, when you do Pythagorean Theorem, hypotenuse always goes by itself, and the two legs go together. So that's 169 minus 25, and that is 144. And the square root is 12. So we have one of the Pythagorean triples, 5, 12, 13. Okay, so the height of this cone is 12. So there's pi r squared h divided by 3. So we've got 5 squared times 12 divided by 3, and that is 100. So the volume is 100 pi feet cubed. Next we have an oblique cone. So we have a radius of 8, so the volume is pi 8 squared, times the height. The height has to be perpendicular to the base, and because of this symbol right here, I know that 11 here is perpendicular to the base, divided by 3. So we have 8 squared times 11 divided by 3, and I'm going to use this button right here, so second, and then this will give me a mixed number. So I have 234 and 2/3. So the volume is 234 and 2/3 pi centimeters cubed. Okay, next I'm given the volume and I need to know the radius. So the volume is 32 pi, so 32 pi equals pi r squared, so that's pi x squared, times h, which is 6, divided by 3. Okay, so I can do some simplifying, or I can just get rid of this 3 first. Let's do that. We'll multiply both sides by 3, so times 3. And those cancel, so then 3 times 32 is 96. So we have 96 pi equals pi x squared times 6. Then we can divide by pi and 6. The pi's cancel, the 6's cancel, and the pi's cancel on the left side as well. 96 divided by 6 is 16. 16 equals x squared. Now when I take a square root in an equation, I get plus or minus. So there's actually two answers, plus or minus the square root of 16, which would be 4 and negative 4, but a negative radius doesn't make sense, so I only need the positive square root here. X is 4. Here I don't have a height or a slant height. I have a radius though, so I've got volume equals pi 13 squared times h, which I don't know, divided by 3. So I'm going to have to find the height here. So I'll call that h. Okay, so I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA here. Sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay, so across the triangle from this 28-degree angle, across the triangle, that is the opposite leg. Okay, across from the right angle, that's the hypotenuse. And then here, right next to the 28, is the adjacent leg. Okay, now I'm not using the hypotenuse here. I'm using opposite leg and adjacent leg. And that is right here in TOA, so I'm using tangent. So tangent 28 degrees is to 1, as opposite is to adjacent. Opposite leg 13 is to adjacent leg h. In a proportion, I can always switch diagonally. So I get h over 1, which is just h, equals 13 over tangent 28 degrees. So 13 divided by tangent 28 is 24.45. Now on this problem, I have already done some rounding right here. I can't get an exact answer for this, which means that exact answer for this one is not going to exist. So there's no sense in leaving the pi out of the calculator and trying to write an exact answer like we had done before. So we're just going to type everything in. Pi 13 squared times, and I'm just going to bring in that previous answer. So second answer, it brings in all these decimal places for me, and then ones that are hidden as well. Divided by 3, and I get 4,326.97. So the volume is 4,326.97 meters cubed. And for our last problem, you ordered 1.5 cubic yards of topsoil for your yard. It is dumped in your driveway in an approximately conical shape, so it's basically a cone, but not exactly. How much more or less than you ordered did you receive? Okay, so I've got feet, I've got inches, and I've got cubic yards. So let's put everything in inches. So 6 feet at 12 feet or 12 inches per foot. So I've got 6 times 12. That's 72. So I've got 72 inches here for a diameter. 1.5 cubic yards. Okay, so 1.5 cubic yards. We're not going to change that to inches. You know what? We're just going to find out how many cubic yards we got and subtract it from this. So let's just do this in inches. So the volume is pi r squared h. So that's pi times the radius, which is half of 72, 36. 36 squared times the height, 42, divided by 3. Now we're dealing with a real-world example here. There's no pi in this anyways, so we do not want an exact answer. We're going to type pi in the calculator. Pi times 36 squared times 42 divided by 3 is 57,001.06. 57,001.06 inches cubed. That's what we got. Now let's convert that to cubic yards. So we're going to divide this by however many cubic inches are in a cubic yard. A cubic yard is 36 inches by 36 inches by 36 inches. So here is a cubic yard. And we're just going to draw it in the shape of a cube. Okay, so it's 36 inches by 36 inches by 36 inches. That is 1 cubic yard. Okay, so 36 cubed is 4,656. So 1 cubic yard is 46,656 cubic inches. So we're going to take this answer and divide it by 46,656, and that will convert our answer to cubic yards. So I'm just going to highlight that and divide it by 46,656, and we get 1.22. So we got 1.22 cubic yards. We ordered 1.5. We're off by about a quarter of a yard. Okay, so it says how much more or less than you ordered did you receive? So that's 1.5 minus 1.22, and that is 0.28 cubic yards. Okay, that's how much we are short. Okay, now, is that going to be exact? No, because this isn't exactly a cone, because it doesn't come to a point here. Okay, so we might be off by a little bit, but 0.28, that's more than a quarter cubic yard. We probably are actually a little bit short of what we ordered.